Welcome back. The Bowling Green Purples had a terrific season, going undefeated.
And that season was capped off with a state championship victory over Anderson County in the KHSAA Russell Athletic Gridiron Bowl at Houchins Smith Stadium. And joining us now on the Sports Connection is Purples head coach Kevin Wallace. Coach, you are a state champion. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you, Coach.
Well, it is good to be here, and it's been a long time since we've been able to call ourselves that. I've kind of kidded a lot of our teams that my 1995 state championship ring's a little rusty. That's the reason I don't wear it very much. So awful glad for our players and our staff and our community that we're able to have this type of run.
Coach, take me back to 5 seconds left in the game. The clock's ticking down. What are you thinking as you know the game is over?
This thing's going to finally get over with. When we got it to a running clock after the second possession in the third quarter, we knew the game was over. And while we still had a lot of time left on the clock, you begin to think about things. And I'm not sure that my mind stayed really focused on the game, but I did pay attention to what was going on. And game got over with. I wanted to make sure that our guys acted like they normally act when we finish a game, that we never want to try to upstage anybody, and then we would celebrate. And I think we handled that in an appropriate fashion. And as I said, I think more than anything else, probably just happy for our staff. I'm blessed to be around a group of coaches that really understand football, but more importantly, really understand how to establish relationships with their players and get the most out of their players, and for them to be rewarded for their hard work over a course of a number of years is really rewarding. And then obviously this group of 30 seniors and the 92 players we have on our football team all are very deserving as well.
Coach, you're less than a week, from the state championship. I can't imagine the euphoria and just the letdown after going through the entire season the way you guys do, the practices every day. You start in the summer, the heat of the summer, you work through the fall, you get into December. I mean, what has it been like for you now? You're 6 days removed from this thing. Is it hard to let down?
Well, it's a little different, Doug, because most of the time you're kind of replaying the last loss that you just had and all the things that you need to do to get better to make certain that doesn't happen again. And instead, we're talking about designing rings and trying to design a watch and who gets this and who gets that, and we're kind of celebrating it. But when I walk back into school on Monday and you go back to teaching your classes and you go back to doing what you do, and I've already run through our roster and cleaned it out and preparing it for next year, and we've already kind of put up some things in terms of preparing for our winter program. So I think I'm back in the mode of we got to look forward a little bit. But obviously our school has been tremendously excited. I think that Gary Fields did an outstanding job this week in terms of giving all of our students some level of ownership into that state championship. We did a really neat thing on Monday, and that in our commons area we put up a bunch of banners in behind the trophy and put it on a table and allowed every student to come by if they want to take a picture with themselves with the trophy. They got a chance to do that, and I think that was appropriate because our student body has been as good as I've ever seen it in terms of fan support this year and really being organized and really being supportive of our players. And so I thought Mr. Fields did a wonderful thing by doing that on Monday.
Was there a point in the season, a certain game, maybe you looked at it and thought, you know what, we might just be able to win the whole thing this year?
St. X. I think the way we came back and played in the second half at St. X, we were down 14-7, came back and won that football game 28-20, and really controlled the second half. And if you'd have looked at the body language of our football team at halftime, we didn't look like a team that was ready to make that kind of comeback, and understanding on that very hot and muggy night how we were able to come back and fight through adversity and win a really tough football game on the road. I didn't think we would play anybody all year long that would be as good as St. X. Obviously, we played very quality football teams, in particular in Warren Central and John Hardin in the playoffs. But I think getting past that hump, a hump that we had always come so close to beating in terms of beating a private school, certainly gave all of us the confidence that we could make this run.
Coach, I got to ask you, at the beginning of the season, we talked about John Hardin. You guys were preseason ranked #1 in 5A, and you really had your reservations. You were really talking about John Harden, how good you thought they were, and I don't think that was coach speak. I really thought you thought they were a good program, and they are. But as big a game as St. X was, the John Harden game, was that the statement game? I mean, that thing was just absolutely over after about the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was a statement quarter, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Everything went right for us, Doug. If we had turned around and played John Harden the next week, I have a belief that we would have won, but I don't have a belief that it would have been a 42-point victory. We improved. We played our best football in November and December. I don't think there's any doubt about that. When I saw John Harden live, it was August. Late in the year, and in particular in the playoffs, they began to have trouble with fumbling the football and turning it over. They weren't doing that early. And any time two competitive teams play against each other, turnovers is normally going to make the biggest difference in the football game. And I think we had a great belief going into that game that we could force them into some turnovers if we played a physical style of football. And fortunately for us, that's exactly what happened early in the game.
Yeah. Looking ahead, I know you said you've already started looking at next year, getting the winter program ready. How tough is it as a coach to look at maybe any senior class, especially this one, and I think you said 30 seniors, to have to replace that many seniors?
Well, here's the challenge I'll put in front of our team when we get ready to get started. After the 2006 season, we lost 30-plus seniors. We lost a number of Division I signees, more Division I signees than what we'll have this year. That was the Stuart Hines, Ryan Beard, Avery Hibbett, Casey Tenius, Tucker Jackson, Chris Tucker group. And I don't think anybody thought that we would continue to compete at an elite level, and we went back to the state championship game in 2007. We're going to keep our expectations where they always are at Bowling Green High. We don't expect anything less than competing with the best teams in the state of Kentucky. And so just because we lost 30 seniors, and we're not going to have very many seniors next year, does not give us a get-out-of-jail-free card. We're still going to have to play St. X, and we're still going to have to play Lexington Catholic, and we're still going to have to fight within what I think is the toughest region of 5A when you look around and look at the teams that are in it.
Yep.
And we've got to get to a point where we can handle that in a good fashion.
Okay. Well, Coach, we appreciate you stopping by. Congrats on the championship.
Way to go, Coach.
And we no doubt look forward to watching the team next year and watching you guys try to defend that state title.
I appreciate that.
Stay tuned. Time for a quick break. Stick around. You're watching the Sports Connection.